There's one or two
Okay.
hiccups. There's been in the past, but we are live now. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. My name is Boris Wild. I am a French magician from Paris, and I'm here with Brandon, so we can talk a little bit about magic, obviously, and some of the things I've done over my career.
Now, one of the first things I usually ask most guests that I have on here is, how did you discover magic? What was that process like? Did you discover magic as a young child? Did you see something? How did you get into it?
Well, that's obviously a good question because it's always I'm always interested also in how people started magic because there are many ways to discover magic. Most people says, "Oh yeah, I got like a magic box, magic set, kit, whatever," when I was a kid or something. I got that, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. I played with my magic set, my magic kit, and but not like it was not like there's a click like oh yeah, I want to be a magician. But when I was 12, I saw a magician on stage, and I was just like, oh my god, that's crazy, that's impossible. I witnessed the impossible live. So I got intrigued, and I thought, okay, well, that's really something I would like to do. And it turns out that this magician also was teaching magic to some students, and it was the right timing for me because I was 12, and I was looking for something to do beside class. And most of the time, you do sport, like especially in France, like you do soccer or you do whatever, some kind of martial arts or something. I was not really into sports. I tried tennis, fencing. It's very French, I know, so uh, I didn't like it.
A little bit of a bit of it, fencing is good. I practice kendo for
Oh
quite some
yeah,
years. So
that's
yeah,
great. Yeah.
I have actually about 15-year history of martial arts.
Oh wow.
Uh,
Okay, that's
that
awesome.
was like my number one love before magic and everything else. Like I did magic in between, but I hurt my back, and after that, everything else went out
Ah,
the window.
okay. I understand that. Well, lucky for me, I was not really into sports, but when the this magician said that they were like meeting every week, like in this little local magic club, and he was teaching magic, and I was like, maybe I would like to give it a try because it's always something that's been fascinating for me, and I was intrigued, and I went there once, and then I was just like, oh my gosh, this is it. I want to be able to do that too. Yeah, so it was really like seeing a magician on stage, and now just yeah, talking to him afterwards, and I think he saw like motivation in me, or he just said, okay, let's give it a try with this kid. We never know, and I
Now,
think
who
he
was
was
the
right.
magician you asked?
I'm sorry, say again.
Who was the magician that sort of you got your apprenticeship going with?
His name is Philippe Warin. He's a French magician, mostly known in France. I think he retired now. He was doing close up in stage, and then he got really into Kodak, mentalism Kodak with his partner. He even wrote a book in French on his method, and yeah, and he was just teaching some students every week whenever it was on Tuesday night, so it was pretty a slow night for him because he was busy working in lots of like cabarets and restaurants in the north of France. And but on Tuesday night, whenever he didn't have a gig, he was coming to us and he just taught us some stuff. And that's how I learned my first card tricks, and that was the beginning of it.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I want to ask you. What was the first effect that you learned? Like besides, you know, uh, well, I want to go into cards. Besides, like what comes in a magic kit, because we all kind of get a lot of the basic stuff in magic
Yeah,
kits.
yeah.
What was the first effect that you learned that you was like, I'm going to start performing this on a constant basis?
The very, I mean, I remember the first thing I bought, where I went to Mephisto at that time. So it was in Belgium because I was in north of France, and the closest magic store was in Belgium at that time, and it was called Mephisto. And then Mephisto and Select Magic just merged, and they became one. And Select Magic is still around right now, and but at that time it was Mephisto, and I went there, and I remember I bought a deck of cards, and it was not bicycle, it was Atlantis at that time. It was bridge size. I was 12. I got little hands, so I couldn't use the poker size cards. So it was bridge size. And it was Atlantis because they were much cheaper than bicycle. Bicycle were very expensive in Europe at that time because they were imported and everything. So, but yeah, most of my friends are at Atlantis. So I bought one. So I bought a close-up mat. I bought this little bridge blue Atlantis deck, and I bought Professor's Nightmare. and and
Wow.
the
Okay.
yeah, and the very one of the first thing, and I might be the first thing I've ever like really like learned beside cards was Professor's Nightmare. I mean the card tricks, yeah, I learned like basic card tricks like key card stuff, blah blah blah, everything you can find
Right.
in like uh, books for beginners and stuff. And Professor's Nightmare, yes. And by the way, the very first time I went on stage, it was just a few months after I started Magic, was doing Professor's Nightmare and a card trick of Size Divots. So basically, I was just having three people picking cards, and I was pretending I could read their mind. And I says, "Your card is this, your card is this, and your card is this." Um, and Professor's Nightmare to music.
Now, Professional
That's was
Nightmare,
great.
I've seen it performed pretty often. I see like a lot of professionals perform it. I mean, even to this day,
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm still a little surprised sometimes whenever I see professionals doing Professor's Nightmare because they always, want to add like some touches and subtleties and things, and it's a strong trick. I mean, it's
when
still
it's
really.
done when it's done well, it's chef's kiss. I love it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Any trick, any routine,
I
even
agree.
basic, even like you know, magicians look at that and be like, oh yeah, it's Professor's Nightmare, ha ha ha, or it's just whatever. I mean, no. I mean, it's
That's not a good
if you
mindset to
if
have.
you if you perform it properly, yeah. I mean, it could be a killer, and it's still a really really good trick even now in 2026, and that's why it's a good trick. It's
Classic.
because it's
Yeah.
been done forever, and there's a reason why people still do it today because it's a good trick.
I think I'm of the mind that even a self-working magic trick, when presented correctly, can it can kill. You can really, really, really mess up the audience if you as long as you present it correctly, you have good patter, you're able to
Yeah.
engage with them and not make it seem so robotic. Which sometimes these things can be a little bit robotic. I think those types of effects can be worthy of being put in a performance. I mean,
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. There's no bad trick. There's just bad performers. So you
That's
can
I
give
agree with that.
you can give the most basic beginner's trick to Juan Tamariz or Danny or anybody, and they will turn it into an absolute miracle. And it's also a fun thing to do as a magician. I mean, like right now in the show I do in Paris, I have like one specific thing. I'm not talking too much about it because I want people to see it live, but
And
it's just funny because there's one particular routine I do when magicians come to see the show, and at the end they come to me and they're like, "I can't believe you do that on your show, but damn, that was one of the best. Damn, you could hear the reactions and the laughs and the gasps and everything." I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I'm doing it because I took it as a basic thing, but I just turn it in a completely different way." Even some magicians like, "Oh, I like the take you had on that particular one. I don't know the method you use for that one, but it's so much better than the original one." And I'm like, "I'm not going to tell you that it's exactly the original one. I haven't changed anything in the method. It's all about presentation. It's all about the handling. It's all about how you manage it and you sell it to the audience, and it works."
I, just what you said right there is how you sell it. I think if you somewhat believe what you're doing, the audience will also believe it.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, yes, yeah.
Sell it
It's
to
like
yourself, and they'll buy it.
Yeah, it's like Professor's Nightmare. You're like, oh my god, yeah, just turn the rope like this, and it just no, no. If you said no, I have the power to stretch the little one and just make the longer one like the same size as the second one, and look, they're all the same. And if you like, it's a basic thing in magic. If you believe in what you do, if you think that if you act as a real magician and think, okay, I can do magic, people will people will believe that. So yeah, they won't believe it if you don't believe it yourself.
Right.
That's the number one rule. Yeah.
So obviously, France is very rich when it comes to history and magic. Do you have any you know magicians in history that you look up to or aspire to or just admire?
Well, yeah, we're lucky in France. France has always been like a pretty interesting, great country for magic. I mean, number one name I could say is Robert Houdin. So Jean Robert Houdin is the father of modern magic, and he's considered all over the world as the father of modern magic. And I yeah, so that's the one for me. I would really look up and admire because um, if you look at his life and the way he changed magic, the way it was used to done before, by having his soirée fantastique in his theater and his relationship with Méliès also, and which is also like the inventor of special effects for cinema. Yeah, but
1902. Actually, just did something about that. Yeah.
okay, but Jean-Jean Robert Houdin, yeah, Robert Houdin. If you still look at his creations now, like the clocks that he made, because at first he was making he was a clockworker, right, making clocks, and how modern he was for this time, the way he got dressed, the way he was making his shows in his theater, that's pretty amazing. So, and I think he opened the world to many magicians, not only in France, but all over the world. But yeah, so of course that's him. But we had a lot of people since then that were, if you look at like FISM awards, like Grand Prix and stuff, we got Jan Frisch, we got Norbert Ferrer, we got lots of people who came to France, and I'm lucky to travel the world, and it's just nice whenever I travel when people talk to me and says, "Oh my God, can you tell me what's in the water in France? Because I don't know how you guys are so creative, and it's interesting to hear that because it really shows that there is like a French touch, or there is you know something that is recognized all over the world about French magic. We try to, I think, or I hope, to be a little like different, or maybe think a little bit outside the box. Others do it, of course, okay, not in the French, but I think it's from what I could hear, because that's all I can say from what I can hear from people. I mean, the image that French magician have is pretty good, um, for creativity and thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Um, there are like so many different cultures in magic. They all have their own style, and I love it all. So I wanted to ask you about the creation of some of the MDs that you've been involved in, and our magician audience will know exactly what we're talking about. Um, what came first? Was it your deck or the gambler's deck?
Mm, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I've always loved card magic from the beginning. So when I told you I started with cards, that's the first thing I bought, was this Atlantis deck of cards, beside the ropes. I realized immediately that with this little thing in my pocket, I can. It was just not one trick. It was just like a world. It could do 10 minutes. I could do an hour. And the literature and all the magicians who studied card magic before, and I was just like, oh my gosh, there is just an entire world in front of me with just this little thing. And at that time, I was just 12. So, I mean, I came from a very humble family. I didn't have like much money just to buy stuff, equipment, and things. So it was the ideal thing. It was just like it was rather cheap, and there was it was very versatile. So and I started to learn card magic pretty quickly. And since we were talking about French magician, and I would just talk about this very quickly before I talk about D&D, because
Go
it's
ahead.
kind of related. Um, I started learning card magic with Dominique Duvivier's videos. So in France, they were pretty much like the only kind of reference. Or I'm going to take a look at this. It was he released some VHS at that time that were like covering all the basics of card magic and techniques and routines and things. And so that's how I started to get interested in card magic with just a regular deck, the one I bought. Then I realized, oh, there might be some other decks available that I may not be like as regular as this one. I'm like, okay, so of course I got interested in that. I mean, is it really worth it? Is it really worth using it, or is it just like, okay, you just want to be lazy and and you don't want to learn the techniques, and that's why you learn this thing again. So I'm just gonna get a little water again. Mm,
That's an interesting point, because I can see the argument both ways. It can be a crutch. I think you should learn, full sleight of hand with something more regular at first, and learn key processes and other things like that, other methods first. Then now you have this extraordinary tool in front of you, and you can go out and just kill your audience with them.
yeah, exactly. Yes. So I think it's an interesting second step where you realize that okay, you can combine special cards with regular cards, or they got special decks, and then you just look at it and you're like, okay, well, basically they sell this deck, and you can do the exact same effect or pretty much the same with technique. Or no, this one is impossible to do as clean with technique. So it's worth it. It's really worth having it, or it's really worth combining it with the regular deck, or maybe switching decks or whatever.
Right.
But I think it's always about the plus. It's always about the goal. The main goal is the magic effect, as we know. So if you can achieve, um, I don't know, the same effect, but there is nothing suspicious. There is no technique. There is nothing that could look a little awkward or weird. But you have to use. You need to use a gimmick card or whatever, or an entire gimmick deck. Then I would be like, yes, go for it. That's my goal, because people don't know and they don't care. People don't know if your deck is regular or not. They will assume it's normal, okay? And
Right.
maybe it's normal. Yeah, it's fine. And then you will do techniques and stuff, and the effect will look great, and it will look like what it would look like if it was real magic. Then fine, go for it. Yeah, don't bother adding more gimmick cards or whatever. However, if you need to do like a switch and get a gimmick deck and do something with it, but then everything looks so perfect, so like the way it should be if you had real magic powers, then go for it. Because if people don't suspect that this deck is gimmicked or is special or whatever, they will assume that you use just your regular deck, and then you do something that is incredibly strong, and they will have the feeling they just saw magic and not a trick. That's my goal when I do cards, because I'm a card magician. I'm French and I'm a card magician. Sorry, nobody's perfect. So but my when I do workshops, when I do workshop and stuff, the theme is how to turn card tricks into magic with cards. I try to avoid doing card tricks. I don't want to do card tricks. I don't like card tricks, but I love magic with cards. So whatever I work on routine, effect, or anything, I start from um, the end. I start with the real effect. If I was a real magician, how would I perform it? Okay, and then I try to find ways, techniques, decks, cards, whatever, in order that I can get to that goal. So if I need gimmicked cards, if I need anything, I will use it. If I don't, I'm not going to use it.
Now, I
Okay,
think there's a true benefit to having MDs versus other decks,
exactly.
like for example, Invisible or Spengal
Hmm.
or a tape
Yeah,
Ur,
exactly. Yeah,
because
exactly.
those
Yeah,
can be used, regularly. They can be handed out to the audience. There's
true.
so many more benefits that I personally believe that like that's like
Oh,
my
I
go-to. Sure.
I fully agree. Yes, that's where I wanted to get to. Obviously, after talking about all this, because one day I discovered the MD, and and I was just like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Because at first, and like most people unfortunately think, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use this deck and I'm going to be able to know things, ahead, or and I'm going to be able to don't have to use some kind of techniques where I have to, move my hand in order to quickly look at things and stuff. And here I don't have to do that because the specificity of the deck. And most people think that's it. It's just this. You just okay, pick a card, okay, concentrate, blah, 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 three of hearts. No, of course not. That's not the goal of D&D. That's we can do so much better than this. So I got interested in that, and then I realized, oh, okay, well, I learned all my techniques, I learned all my basics and stuff, and which was good. And that's usually how it works. I mean, you learn all this, and then you start getting rid of some of the techniques because you don't need them, or you don't use them, or you have tools that make them unnecessary anymore.
Now,
And that's the
are
thing of
you
BMD.
are you able to say what that first one that you came across was in some way, shape, or form?
Like which the first one, the first.
The first MD that you came across as you were going through your journey in magic.
Well, I don't remember exactly the first one I got, but I think it's something I found in the general world. Okay, it's not something I got from like a magic store or something. Um, so it's just like a basic one, like a very standard one, which is unfortunately most of them are like this. I mean, it's just like okay, and like a nice deck with nice design, etc. And then you can, through that design, get some stuff. Okay, fair enough. But since I didn't know anything about it at that time, for me, I had this simple mind that says, "Oh, okay, great. So I can give a deck to someone. They shuffle the deck, and let's say I need the Queen of Hearts because I need to do something with the card in one routine. And after the cards have been shuffled, I get the card back, and I'm able to locate the Queen of Hearts, using my power or the power of the deck. And within a couple of seconds, I can, okay, find the Queen of Hearts, and I can use it, or I can produce it, or whatever. But then I realized, no, no, at least the deck I had at that time, you couldn't do that. I mean, yes, you had to get the cards back and spend quite some time, looking at things until you can find that card that you were needing. And I'm like, that's why. Why are they doing MDs if you cannot do that? And then I looked at another one and another one and another one, and all of them were pretty much the same. They were like different method ish, but it was still impossible to do what I wanted to do. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't create mine just for fun or just to be like, okay, I'm going to put my name on the deck and look at me. No, no, no. My first reason was okay, I want to develop my own method so I can achieve what I want and what I need for my routines. and that's how I came up with, yeah, with this. So I started to look at book and work by Ted Leslie. Obviously, he was a major influence on me, German magician. And I even managed to talk to him about my work, and thank him personally about, the work he's done on the subject. And
I've got some transfers back there.
oh, there you
Man,
go.
I don't know. I don't know
See,
how. I don't know how man,
no, that was
talk about craziness. Like,
exactly.
uh,
No, that was great. I mean, the way he just changed things in this world of MTs, yes, and that's how we started to call them like readers. Okay, it was not about like decoding things; it was just about reading things. So,
much faster.
and exactly. Oh yeah, so much faster. And also, I I was lucky enough to start doing magic, not professionally because I was still a student at that time, but semi-professionally, I would say. But I was doing gigs. I started doing gigs very early,
How
and
old were you when you started doing gigs?
um, that was pretty much. I think the first one was like in '87, so I was like 15 at that time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was mostly first. It was mostly like stage. I was doing like mainly shows, like Christmas shows or kid shows, and some of the little bit of stage shows, family shows. But I was doing close up too, and I didn't have much money. I didn't have much things at home to do magic. So, and I didn't want to spend too much time learning things that I would not use in my gigs. I mean, my priority was I want to learn things that I will perform. I mean, just not for me, just not for fun. So NDs were like at that time there was no question about NDs. I was not working with NDs at all. NDs were like in the '90s. They happened like pretty much. I would say about, let's say, 5 6 years later. Um, but already at that time I was just like, okay, I'm going to learn things, I'm going to do. And when I get interested in MDs, I didn't want to do tricks with a deck that I could not use professionally, or with a deck that would require, oh, okay, I can only perform if there is good lighting, or if there is
Yeah.
this, or if I have a table so I can spread cards, or I can put cards all over the place and stuff, so I can, do whatever I need to do at that time, at that moment. So yeah, my main goal was, okay, I want to achieve what I want to do, and I want to be able to make it practical. So something that can be used in professional conditions. So, and that's how I am in the mid '90s. I came up with my deck, and it just it changed everything. I can be honest with you, it changed everything from one day to another. My magic just changed. And it's interesting because I realized that one day, I can tell you the story because it's a fun one. Um, um, Before I was using the MD, I got lots of people saying, because I was young and I'm not tall. I was really looking like young and I was short. So every time people see me, it looks like there was this kid doing like things like, oh my gosh, okay, look at that. This kid is doing card tricks. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. So after my performance, usually people were asking me things like, "How long you been doing that?" Or they were like, "Oh, how many hours do you practice a day? Oh my God, you're very skillful." Blah blah blah. And it was fun. It was interesting, and it was nice. But I didn't like it because uh, to me, it felt like that I was just skilled, or I was working my craft, and they could see it, which
Creating
is
that
nice. But
puzzle mentality, right?
yeah, I was not a magician yet. I think I was just, this kid doing, you know, com- contracts. Um, and I started to use the MD, and when I started to use the MD, I started to get rid of techniques. I started to think differently. I started to think about, oh, the effects, or how a magician would do this card effect if he had real magic powers and stuff. And it's funny because from the day I started to think that way, because of or thanks to the MD, I never had any more anyone saying, "Oh my God, you're so skillful. Oh my God, how many hours do you practice a day?" The only thing I got at the end was F bombs, and it was the best compliments I could ever have. I was doing my thing, and people were like, "Oh my God, oh," and they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. Don't be sorry. This is the best compliment you can give me
That is what
because
we're all striving for, right?
yeah, because I mean, those people were like in society. They were like, like colleagues and people, and this is not the kind of word they would say spontaneously because it was, very it's fancy and stuff. But I realized that I was touching them so deeply with the thing they felt, witnessing the magic I was performing, that they couldn't help it. It was just true. It just
That
came out.
emotion just erupted out of them.
And then I was just, okay, that's what I want. That's exactly what I want. I want this. Um, so yeah. And so I realized that immediately and I said, okay, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna keep going that way. And that's what I've been doing since then. And that's what I've been using it nonstop every day since then because it just changed everything. It doesn't mean that everything I do, I do it with the MD, but it also helped me to visualize and realize things about magic. About if you need it. I know some magicians like, oh my god, I use only regular cards. I would never use this because I think it's not fair.
There's lots
I
of
think it's not
Christian's guilt,
okay.
I guess, right?
Exactly. Yes,
Like,
they try to put.
what are you talking about? But then you'll use XYZ. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. The joke I always do is like, oh my god, you say that to me and you do the linking rings. So you think your method is more noble than mine? I don't think so. So um uh yeah. So no, it's again, it is it is what it is, and that's the best thing. And when I do workshops on the MD also or lectures, that's something I say. I take like standard tricks, like routines that everybody do already does. Sorry, and I said now I'm going to do it with the MD. You're gonna see the difference. Uh, Most basic is pick a card. Pick a card or find it. Okay, so and that's what I say. I show them so pick a card. All right. So you do this and okay, and pick a card and put it back and you find it. And then I said, okay, well, let me show you what it should look like. Shuffle the deck. All right. All right. I'm not looking. Take any card. All right. You know what? I give you the deck. Just put it back yourself in it, somewhere, anywhere you want in it. Okay, fine. Shuffle. I don't even shuffle. Okay. Get the card back. And I said, okay, your card is somewhere here. I don't know where because you did everything. You shuffled, okay. But I can tell you it's here. And I produce it. And every time it's funny, magicians are like, oh, wow. And I'm like, you kidding? It's a pick a card trick. But yeah, you didn't see any control. Yeah, you didn't see any whatever. And then you didn't see any okay. Anything that you would expect me to do or any technique that that you think I would do whenever I do a pick a card routine because that's usually how it works. I did none of that. Yeah, I had to use my deck for that. Fine. But again, this deck, it's my deck. I do ambitious card with it. I do force production with it. I do sandwich with it. I give it to the people. They shuffle. They have the deck in their hand. They can play with it. There's nothing to be seen if you perform with it the right way, because
And
no
once
one
you
would
treat it
ever
like that,
suspect anything.
exactly. Once you're treating it like that, you can do anything with it, really. So,
Oh
I
yeah, yeah,
mean, yeah.
exactly. Like lots, most of the tricks I would do, I would just look away or I would just be very like nonchalant, like not focusing on the cards, not staring at things. I would just be like very like if I if I was using, the deck they have in their drawer, exactly the same way. It's more the attitude, it's more the presentation, it's more you body language. Of course, I do things. Of course, I look at things. Of course, I have to. But but if someone after your show try to think, oh yeah, but maybe, maybe he looked at me or he looked at the car when I picked it. And I was like, no, he was, remember, he just looked away and he was talking to the lady on the side and joking with her. I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. Oh no, I had the deck in my hand. He turned his back to me. And so why would they think of this particular method linked to the MD if I behave that way whenever I use it? They would never think about it. So they would go
That
somewhere else.
attitude of I don't care, it kills like that whole maybe it's this. It eliminates that because you're just I don't care. I don't need to look. Put it
Yeah.
back. You're not paying any attention to. It. You're not holding them like this, and you're giving them out. Let people shuffle. That's the
True.
exact way you gotta go with it.
Or use the method at a different moment where they think
Unexpected.
it would, yeah, they would happen. If they know some kind of the method of the MD, they would think, oh, okay, yeah, whenever he does this, he's going to look at something or he's going to. No, I don't. So they don't think about it. But
And
I
another
don't look at
thing,
that moment. I look before or I look after the moment
right?
they think I would look. But I still look. But because I do it at another moment, they don't think it's related, so they don't think of that method, and it
Or
works.
even mix and match. I mean, like if I, if I'm holding up a bunch of keys, you know what I mean,
Mhm,
and you can mix and match. There's I don't know 50 some odd keys on there. You know what I mean, and you
mhm.
can mix and match things like that, and you really don't have to look.
Yeah,
So I mean,
exactly.
there's just so many ways to go about it, where you can really
Yeah,
make things look
yeah,
amazing.
and it's a common thing in Magic. It's not like related to this
Right.
particular deck. It's other things. I mean, if you do it the right way, and if you like treat it in a way so no one. I mean, if you're like blocking the way to that method by doing something or by giving signals to the audience, because sometimes it's not only about trying to prove things, it's just about like sending signals, sometimes subtle signals that people will analyze by themselves, and they will be like, oh yeah, no, there's no way he could have used that, or there's no way he could have used that method because remember he did that, I did this, no, it cannot happen. And as long as you do that and you're like blocking the way to that particular method you use, the secret is safe. And then
Right.
they're gonna go somewhere else, and there's a dead end, and they'll be like, "Oh crap! Okay, how did he do that? That's amazing! It's impossible! It's magic!" Yeah, that's
That's exactly where you want to leave them. You want to leave them where it's this person is not doing sleight of hand because there's no way. It must be magic. That's the only explanation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. To me, that's the goal. Every time
Right.
I perform something, I always try to think of what they may think. Not everyone is like that, but like in Europe or in France, I think it's different. It's a different like mentality and culture than like in the US or in some other
You know,
countries.
I have
They
quite a
want to know.
few.
They want to. Yeah, they're very like into it. Like, "Ugh, I want to know."
It's funny. I have quite a few European friends that tell me the same thing. It's a little bit different with the audience over there. I am curious though. Could you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
By the way, I just missed you not that long ago. You were performing like in my backyard over here in Orlando, and I'm kicking myself. It wasn't that long ago. I'm kicking myself for not being able to go. And
I'll be
I'm
back.
very glad I'm able to speak to you now. That's awesome. But next time you come down, give me a heads up, and I'll come see you, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, I will. Oh yes, yes. Well, the beauty of performing all over the world is you see all kinds of different audiences, and reactions, and sometimes it's a little, it catches you off guard a little bit because you're not expecting that. I mean, at first you like, first time I went to the US, I was just like, oh my god, it sounded, I'm sorry to say that, but much easier to perform for a US audience because you guys want to be entertained. I don't think you're like so much interested in like secrets and stuff, but you're more interested in the show itself, in how, what you're gonna feel from the performance, and the emotion and the laughter and the entertainment and the enjoyment. And so that was very interesting to see that. And the way I perform, like I do my show in Paris, and I also do it all over the world, including in the US. And I'm going to like, do it soon again in the US. And my character and the way I perform things is different. I just don't perform. It's the same routines or it's the same stuff, but I have like two different presentations completely because there
Interesting.
are there are some ways I do things in France where I can play with the fact that people want to know and they want to guess and they are interested, or maybe they are like not upset, but they're like, I wish I knew how it did that because it's crazy, it's amazing, etc. While in the US, I don't use that aspect at all. And also being French, and you can hear it from my accent, and also from all like the not the cliches, but the stereotypes or the things that people think about the French. I play with that a lot, of course, when I'm outside France. So yes, so and I know, of course, I know exactly what foreigners may think about the French. Like, oh, I went to Paris and they're rude and this and that and okay. So I play with that a lot, just to, I would say, I don't know if I can say that, debunk, or I can be like, yeah, and you know what, you may think this is it, but we're not really like that. Or I just play it on purpose. I'm just trying to be, you know, overly French, the way you think the French would be, but it's just too much, and people realize that, oh my god, yeah, it's just it's ridiculous. So obviously now
That's
it's,
that's really funny to think about because I that's something I never really thought about before.
oh yeah, and
Um,
I do that a lot, and it's so much fun to do because it's just making fun of myself in a way, and it's just like, oh, you think we're like this? Yeah, you're right. Or like, yeah, not really, or whatever. But
Now,
it's
I've only performed on like the East Coast of the United States, but as far
mm,
out as I've been is Puerto Rico, and I haven't been overseas anywhere, which I want to someday whenever I get time, and if
mhm,
I've got a daughter, so eventually when she gets a little bit older, I'll do a little bit of traveling. But
sure, yeah,
I mean, I've noticed there's a difference between even the North and like New York, and then I live here in Florida now, and
yeah.
there's a
Mhm.
difference even in between the North and the South in the spectators.
Oh yeah,
Um,
exactly. In France, it's the same also, and in Europe, you would feel the same thing. If I go to Belgium or England or Spain, it's still Europe, but
right.
it's gonna be very different. Asia is also another world, and it's very different from Europe, very different from America. Um, so yeah, I'm going back to Japan in very soon in May, and I remember the first time I went there, and I was shocked. I mean, I was performing things, and then people are can be sometimes quiet, very polite. I mean, I love Japan. I love Japanese people. They're
That's on my bucket list.
amazing. Oh, they're amazing, and I can't wait to go back in May. And I know them now. And but the first time when you perform something and you're like, okay, my God. Usually when I do this, people like, you get great reactions and stuff, and you hear, oh, and that's how you get. You get no applause, you get nothing. You just get, oh, and I'm like, oh my god. And then again, oh, oh, and it happens a lot. And at the very end, the guy was just like, oh my god, that was so amazing. I love your act. Everybody loved it. I'm like, you sure? And oh, you could hear them. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I heard them. And then I realized that no, that's the way they react to something that impressed them,
Yeah.
and they are like, they are like shocked, and they're like, oh my god, that's amazing, etc. And it's so different, obviously. um but when traveling, then you realize, okay, that's how people react. But the interesting thing is the reactions are all different. But the beauty of magic is that everybody feels the same way. It's the reaction that's different, but what they feel, and after I talk to them, they feel the same thing. The emotion of magic that they get is just, it's the same, and it's just the way they react. But the reaction is it's one thing, but it's not the most important to me. It's what I can convey. It's the emotion of
Feeling the
magic I
emotion.
can give them. Yeah, as long as they feel it, their reaction is secondary. It's not the most important. I want to make sure that they felt magic. And the beauty of magic is, even if you don't speak the language, even if the culture is so different and everything, you can still feel the magic. And I love that as a performer, but I also love that as a spectator, or a judge. I mean, I'm a FISM official judge, so I've judged hundreds
Wow.
and hundreds of acts all over the world, including at FISM, the World Championship of Magic. I was even the chairman of the competition, Close Up FISM. And and then you could see Western people like doing like things in tuxedos and cards, and we know that. And then suddenly I remember there was this Indian guy coming, and there's no table, and he just take a little carpet and he unroll the carpet on the floor, and he takes some stones and stuff, and he does magic with it, which is of course completely different. Just there's nothing we can compare. It's so unusual and different.
India has a really interesting culture when it comes to magic and
Yeah,
performance. One of the
exactly,
effects there, the Indian rope trick, like still blows my
exactly.
mind. I don't have no idea how it's done.
No,
I mean, I'm sure there I can probably come up with some type of method, but
yeah, we got
something.
some.
But
I
I
remember Paul Daniels did it in his one of his shows in the 80s on TV, and British TV. Other people did it, but yes, that's the thing. We could feel the magic. I mean, we see this rope, and it's like, oh my god, the guy with the stones on his
someone gets
carpet.
it.
I was just like, oh, okay. I mean, it's nothing. It's nothing I know about. I mean, I don't feel I recognize anything from the magic I know in his magic. But oh my gosh, that's interesting. And watching that, I could feel something strong, just as strong as this guy I know doing amazing, card routines on the table or close-up mat. And that's the beauty of magic, And even if you would not speak English, it's fine.
The beauty.
And exactly, yes. And sometimes you don't need to talk. I mean, magic and music is just the best combination to me too. Like whenever you want to give emotion to people, that's why it's for my FISM act, and that's why I've been traveling so much, because my FISM act doesn't require talking, so it works everywhere. I mean, the feeling of magic is universal. The music is universal. You put them together, you don't need to talk. You don't need to say anything. People
I
will
find
just
like it's a
feel it.
language in on itself in a way, you know?
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I was in China one day, and we needed to do some PR, and we're like in this big square outside, and there was like a stage and a screen and stuff, and we didn't really know what we were doing. It was not clear. Everything was, in Mandarin, and we had a translator, and he didn't really know what to expect from that, thing. And then suddenly the camera comes, and there is a couple of people coming behind around me and says, okay, magic, magic. I was like, okay, a deck of cards. So, and then suddenly there's this me on this giant screen, so people see that and they come around me, or they just look at the screen, and then we're all like six people, and then it becomes 600 people like trying to, see what I was doing or watching the screen. I couldn't speak a word of Mandarin. I I I was just trying to do some, visual routines or visual effects with my deck that I had with me. I had no idea I was about to do that. Um, but you could hear people laughing. You could hear people doing "whoa" or like react, and you're like, "Oh my god, I didn't say a word that they understand. They don't. They say words that I don't understand either." But magic help us to just communicate and to create this bound, this link, and especially making them react to things I was doing. And I was just playing with them, of course, because things they were playing, they were like laughing and they were like, "Oh no, no, no," like trying to show me like do it again or something like that. I was do it again for them, and it was using a different method, so I tried to fool them at the same time, and but entertain them first. And it was just so much fun. And this is those moments when you realize that you're so lucky to be doing magic because it just works everywhere. There's no barrier for culture, language, nothing, age, gender. And it works for everyone, and that's I think is the most beautiful art in the world.
What or where is the strangest place you perform? Whether that be a situation, a country, a
Ah,
neighborhood, whatever, just the one that sticks out to you.
like very like strange, like something where you're like, oh, what I'm doing
Anything that
here,
was
or
like so out of the ordinary that it just stuck out to you.
oh man. Well, see, I told you I started when I was 12. I've just celebrated 40 years of magic, like,
I was
for
gonna ask you about that.
40,
I
four
just saw that
zero.
recently.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of things. um,
40 years. That's amazing.
it's I've performed in like strange places, honestly, but usually I
I
try
had a
not to
feeling. I was like,
remember
I gotta
them,
ask that.
or yeah. What I would what I would remember, it's not like the strangest, but it's the most unusual, and but that really I don't know how to say it in English. I'm sorry. That really that I've amazing memories of. It's not because the venue was beautiful, amazing, or was just like a billionaire house or celebrity or whatever. It's yeah, it's okay. I mean, you do that, you're like, okay,
This was a
great.
place in your memory, so to speak, right?
Yeah. But well, there's one thing I did a couple of times, which is in Paris. There is a hospital for children, and I got in touch with Le Bristol in Paris, which is it's a palace. It's a very fancy hotel, and like celebrities, megastars would just whenever they go to Paris, they're gonna stay at the Bristol, and they had a partnership with the hospital, and I was performing for the Bristol. And see, I performed for the Bristol, and there were like, a bunch of, high-end people and stuff. But it's not the memory I have. The memory I have is because they have this partnership with the hospital, and I went to hospital rooms where there were kids that had like, unfortunately, like severe disease and stuff. And so there were all kinds of precautions, of course, to take, and there were things that we could do, things we could not do, the way we're dressed, the contact with them, obviously, because I want to make sure we don't compromise anything, etc., etc. And there's one thing I remember. I did. There was this kid in his hospital, and I did little magic with him, and I left the room. But I was. It's very unusual, obviously, because you cannot do everything you can do in a regular gig. You have to be careful of so many things. So I was trying not to do anything that, whenever you're in the flow, you perform, and you have your reflexes, and you touch the arm of the person and you do something, and it says no, you cannot do that here. So I was trying to be very concentrated, focused on the performance, and also on every rule I know I have to follow. And I leave the room, and there's this nurse coming to me, and she is like, "What did you do to him?" And I'm just like, "Oh my
Oh no.
god." what did I do? What? Oh, I missed something. And I try to think very quickly. And I'm like, no, I mean, they told me because, depending on, the kid, there are some rooms where I can do certain things and some rooms where I cannot do. And so I have to always, focus. I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't mess up or I mixed up something. And no. They asked me this, that, no. I was like, so no, yeah, what did you do to him? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, he seemed to had a good time and he was entertained. I hope everything was okay. I tried to be very careful and follow the rules. And she was like, "No, I'm asking you because he's been here for 3 weeks. We haven't seen him smile once. He just smiled to me. So what did you do to him?" And I'm like, "Oh gosh, don't do that to me, lady. That's not okay." Uh,
I got
yeah,
anxiety from your story just now. That's crazy.
I know, and I have to by just telling you the story again because I remember what I felt when she said that to me, and of course she was kind of playing with me, but the outcome was good, so no worries about it, and she knew it, but she was just playing with me a little bit because she's a nurse, she's like emerging to that, so it's not I don't think it touches her as much as me going there and spending the day there. And I remember going back to my car at night and crying for 20 minutes, like, oh my gosh, what did I see today? I'm the luckiest person in the world to be outside and having, nothing that they have because it's crazy what I saw today. But at least I hope for, a few minutes, they just hopefully, had a good time, forget about, all the ordeal and what they have to deal with. But no, and she was like, "Yeah, no, no." He smiled. I mean, it's the first time we saw his teeth. I mean, it's I'm so glad you came today because there's something that triggered. There's something. There's a click to him, and now hopefully that's he's going to be more lively here because of this moment you had together. And I'm like, oh, whew. So that's the kind of thing I want to remember. I mean, the awful gigs and stuff, and we all have done that. And we go to some places, and we're like, "Oh my god, it's absolutely not what they they told me it would be." Oh, let's do it. Take your check, go out. I mean, I don't want to remember those ones, but this particular one, for instance, yes, that's the kind of things you're like, okay, I know why I'm doing that. And again, giving emotions. Um, uh, Having people forget about everyday life for just even a few minutes
That's the real
and
gift, isn't it?
yeah, and that's what we should do as magicians, not only magicians, of course, like all performers or artists or singers, actors. I mean, they all do that, we all do that. I mean, it's I think it's important. I think our role is important in society, much more important than most people think.
Yeah.
That we need to listen to a good song we love because for just 3 4 minutes we breathe, we get inspired, we etc. We go to the movie and we go to a
I myself
different
get
world.
lost in film sometimes, and that's kind
Ooh.
of a little escape for me. I love cinema. I'm a
I
big cinema guy.
Oh, me too. I have like I don't know hundreds and hundreds of Blu-rays at home, and I'm still like the old school. I have the streaming services and everything, but I like my collection of movies and yeah, I mean, I've been cinema movie has been a very big inspiration for me in my magic. I mean, I can say that I probably got more inspiration from watching movies and from watching magic DVDs, to be honest. And or movie soundtracks, listening to movie soundtracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use lots of music in my performances, and lots of them come from movies. Um,
So I got to
yeah,
ask you, since you're a movie guy like me, do you have a favorite film?
I do have some favorite films indeed. Oh yes. Wow. One of my favorite films, if not my favorite film, it's I don't know about you guys in the US, but maybe it's very more European stuff or I don't know. One of my favorite is Lost in Translation by Sofia
Okay.
Coppola. And I know lots of people, it's either they hate it or they love it.
Popular film, yeah. Yeah.
But Lost in Translation to this talks to me. It's lots of people say nothing happens on during that movie. It's just like just two people like exploring Tokyo, and that's it. But it's honestly, it's still one of my favorite movies ever, because again, the emotion that comes from it, it's brilliant. And
That's it. Going on my watch list.
yeah, put it on your, yeah, put it on watch list. But then I love comedies, of course. I love Jim Carrey as an actor, and of course in his movies. I love uh, I'm not really into like a genre or something. I like to watch all kinds of
I think I've
different
got a pretty
movies.
good variety. I've been trying to narrow down like my personal favorite 100, my my list of 100 greatest films. I think I'm up to like 86 or something like that.
Oh, nice.
So every time I think of one, I'm like, oh, is that on my list? And I try to add it to it. I've got
No,
a lot of classics.
I have a bunch of them. I need to make a list. I need to make a list at some point, because it's
It helps because it's hard to remember sometimes, and you'll
yeah,
watch a movie 5 years ago, and remember, and just you'll forget that you love that movie so much. So I started a list. You got to make it. It
especially
helps.
when people ask you like this, like, oh, which movie? Like, oh, okay, I thought about Lost in Translation because I went to a movie theater in Paris recently to watch it. I've never seen him in a movie theater because it was released, and then I watched it on video. But I didn't want to watch it. But I would love to do the same thing one day with the Shawshank Redemption, because
Oh, that's a good one.
that's another one I love. But I've only seen it, on TV. That would be
Yeah,
great to
Stephen
see it live
Stephen
on the
King
big screen.
has some. He's written, and they've made some great film adaptations of
Oh
his
yeah,
work. Stephen King. That's just a nice variety too, because you hear Stephen King, you think it's all horror, but he
no,
has a great catalog of different stuff that is awesome. I love his writing.
oh yeah. I just Have you seen The Dead Zone with Christopher
Yeah,
Walken? Oh,
classic.
okay. Oh yeah, it's a classic. But I mean, it's because it's a classic sometime from the 80s that, people think of other like Stephen King adaptations and stuff. But Dead Zone is, especially as a magician, because this guy can like predict the future, he can see the future, and it's kind of dark. But the and Christopher Walken is
Great
Christopher
acting.
Walken. I mean, he's just amazing. So yeah, and so there are people like that would be like, okay, I'm gonna go. Bill Murray, yeah, okay. Groundhog Day, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a
That's
good one too.
go-to movie again. I mean, love those guys.
I've got a wide range from like black and white films all the way up to modern
Yeah.
action-packed blockbusters, and I love it all. Not every film is great, but that have a, a nice wide variety.
Mm.
I even think I have a silent film on my
Mm.
list there, so just to show you the range of stuff that I love.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah,
Oh yeah, we talked about Méliès earlier, and it's, yes, I got some, I would go from like Méliès movies to the to the latest, whatever superhero movies and stuff. But I mean, it's interesting as a performer also, because you have to you have to get uh, uh, fed with all this genres and emotions and stuff, because magic is normally, unfortunately, when I see more and more magicians, and it's like, oh, comedy magic, magic and comedy, 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 comedy. It's all about comedy, like make them laugh. It's all about people laughing, and of course, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not easy to do first, and second, yes, I mean, people want to be entertained. They want to have a good laugh and everything. But if you got movies, it's not only comedies. People, they want to go to see a movie, and they want to see a romantic comedy because they know they're gonna be touched, or they're gonna cry, or they know they're gonna be scared, or they know they're gonna be disgusted because it's like a horror movie, or it's gonna be like a whatever blockbuster, and it's gonna be boom 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 all the time, and at the end you're like, oh my god, that's crazy. And it's the same thing for magic. I mean, it's not only about comedy. And when I created my Physimac, the Kiss Act, that was the first thing that came to my mind. I was just like, oh my god, it's all like make them laugh, make them laugh. Okay, well, how about I do a card act and I start doing the. It's just I have one deck of cards, nothing else. I got a deck of cards, and 7 minutes later, I want them to be in front of me, and I want to see tears in their eyes, and I want to see them moved and touched. 7 minutes
Now, I
later.
really, really like that idea because so many times I've seen, and actually, I was just funny you mentioned it because I just saw this recently where someone is performing. Let's say they're performing a 30-minute set, and within that 30-minute set, they pull out 5, 6 decks of cards, and I'm just like, what's going on here?
Right?
So, I mean, I
Yeah.
really like the idea because I'm that type. I do want to like walk around and stuff like that. So I
Mhm.
carry one deck, and most of the time I'm carrying one, and unless I'm doing like a specific trick or something like that. But most of the time,
Yeah,
I like to carry one deck and do everything I possibly can with that one deck. And of course,
sure.
there's exceptions to the rule occasionally, but I really like
Mm.
that style.
Oh yeah, yeah. As long as it's motivated and you bring like a like on the show I do in Paris at the Double Fond, the show is an hour and 20 minutes, so it's 80 minutes, and I have 3 decks in 80 minutes, and it's mostly, I mean, it's exclusively cards except for one thing. So
Right.
it's only cards, but one routine which is not card, but the rest is card. But I only use 3 decks, and but there's a reason why. I mean, there's a main deck and there is a second deck I use, which I introduced
Right.
because it's been sitting on the shelf the entire time, and now of course I have to talk about it because people think, okay, what is that deck? Okay, and then I introduce one last that it's going to be all about the ending and everything. So maybe there's more, but at least people only see three. Um, and it's all motivated, of course, and it's over almost an hour and a half. So yeah, so there's no excuse to like, bring 20 decks or like,
It was pretty ridiculous. I was watching, I was laughing to myself about it because I am one
yeah,
of those like one deck kind of guys. And like I said, there are some exceptions now. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
And
yeah,
anybody listening and watching, because I am for a good deck swap, or there's certain specific things maybe you might want to do with one deck versus the other. If you're getting
yeah,
cards destroyed, now you can't use that deck in a full deck effect.
yeah, exactly.
Things like that,
Yeah.
of course. Right.
Yeah, motivation. I mean, as long as it's motivated, yes, you have got sign, you have got, you tear them or whatever, and it says, okay, we're gonna do like poker, we need a full deck, obviously. And even though, I mean, we have techniques as magicians, so to pretend to keep using the same deck over and over, while it might not be the case. So,
I like
and as
those
long as
techniques.
you do it rightly, no one knows about it, and they would just see you with your deck, trying
Yeah.
to entertain them. So that works. But yeah, so that's the thing with cinema and magic. I think there is a lot to learn from like movies or like even other disciplines in magic. Because when I worked on my Physimac, for instance, I my main inspiration was movies, but also other disciplines in magic. I looked at what people were doing on stage rather than in close up because I wanted to get inspired and see how I can transpose stage techniques or themes or emotions that you can more easily bring on stage. How can I do it in close up, and especially with cards, because it's not props. It's just little pieces of paper. So how can I use them? Oh, maybe like pages of a book. I mean, they're all you go to Barnes and Nobles, and it's all the same thing. It's all like pieces of paper all put out together, with a cover. But still, there are like thousands of them. There's a reason why, because you can use those pages to tell the story you want, and sometimes you're gonna get scared, and sometimes you're gonna get touch, and some kind you're gonna laugh like crazy. And I think we can do the same thing with those little, blank pieces of paper that we carry in a little card case. How can I tell stories? How can I convey emotions with them?
Great way of
And
looking at
it's yeah, stories, music, patter, whatever presentation. But that's um, that's an interesting way to see the object and try to go over it. Just not like looking at it like, okay, it's just cards. No, it's not.
it. Yeah, cards do mean a lot to me. I've always had a fascination with playing cards for some reason. Not sure why, but there's just always felt good to mess with. Even before I knew what I was doing. At a younger age, I always liked playing cards for some reason. Wasn't sure
well,
why. Something about them.
well, it's an object that everybody knows. Also, it's an object that people have at home. If you come there and you've got this little wooden box and have this little, gold hinge, and inside there's two compartments and there's a die here, and there's like, okay, what's the magic prop? Obviously, I mean, it could be great. It could be great. It could be great. Don't get me wrong. It could be great. Um, but it's not gonna talk to people. If you come with a deck of cards, yeah, they know, and they can know the deck of cards because they gamble, they play, like between adults or with the kids, or like, kids game. Or they might like magic, or they can do like basic magic also with them. Like, how many times you come with a deck of cards and you say, okay, pick a card, and there's this guy next to you is like, oh, fun.
I
It's
think
just
where
okay,
I
right?
live, that's the most like common association is with people who play cards, people who gamble. So that's like
Yeah.
really, really common. That's like uh, what people are most familiar with when it comes to playing cards, at least in my
Yeah.
experience.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, gambling is of course that's the main the main thing with cards, obviously, and also
Okay, I gotta
because
ask you this.
it's related to like like winning. It's related to money because it's games. It's games that you can play at home, but it's also an object that is used in casino to win big money. It's also something that, in poker games, private poker games, where you can also make money. And we all know that it's, if you get the right card or the wrong card, it can change the entire game. It can change your bank accounts, and it's also, and people also know that there is cheaters, or there are like techniques to cheat at cards, and it's fascinating for lots of people just to
Speaking of
know
that,
that yeah.
uh, how many times has someone said to you, "Oh, you don't want to play cards with that guy"?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's I don't know many times, but yes,
I think
people
that's
says,
the
okay,
number
oh,
one thing I hear.
I won't play cards with you. Or yeah, I remember one day that was very funny. That was in Monte Carlo. So there is Hotel de Paris in Monte Carlo, which is one of the fanciest hotel you can imagine. And there was this Lebanese professional gambler,
Mm.
and this guy was celebrating his birthday. So I was doing the Monte Carlo Magic stuff the week before. I think he saw me perform, and he asked the organizer, says, okay, I would like that guy for my birthday next week. So I came back to Monte Carlo the week after just to entertain his guests at his birthday. And I knew I was a gambler. So my set was a different than usually. It was more like gambling themed. I was more playing with like, poker demonstration stuff, blah, blah, blah. And at the very end, this guy he's a millionaire and he's a professional gambler. So, he knows his stuff. But at the very end of my performance, he came to me and says, okay, do you know there's the casino right next door? I'm like, yeah, the casino in Monte Carlo is right next to the Hotel de Paris. And he says, okay, do you have any plans for after the party or something? I'm like, well, I have to get up very early tomorrow morning because I have my flight back home, and so I'm not sure if I can, but I wish you good luck anyway, blah blah. So the guy really, he was so sure that I was doing the real thing. that I was not using like an MD or anything like that.
Oh,
But
that's amazing. That is amazing.
but he didn't catch any of that, and he was dead serious. I mean, lots of people just say it as a joke, like if
Right.
I do my show in Paris, and the very first thing is that like I turn four indifferent cards into four aces, and so quick openers, boom. So I hear that a lot, like, oh my god, okay, are you available for going to the casino after, or do you have anything planned on Saturday night? I do a little poker game at home, blah blah blah. It's a joke, and I know that, and I get it. But that guy was not joking. I mean, if I would have said, "Oh yeah, yeah, let's go to the casino after," I mean, we would have gone to the casino after, and he would have expected me to help him win in some way, which I would have never done, obviously, even if I was able to, because that's not how that
It's
works.
totally different.
But yeah, uh, so um, so that's why it's the deck of cards is a fascinating object for
It is. Now,
everyone.
what stuck out to me just now with your story is, so you would expect somebody who is professional card player
Mhm.
uh, to maybe notice some things like that, because I try to convert a lot of non-users of MDs,
Yeah,
and because their number one thing is they're like, I'm afraid I'm going to get caught. That's the
yeah,
number one thing I hear all the time, and I
all
and
the
I try
time.
to explain to them, just try it. You'll see it's not what you think it is. And no, it's
No,
all about how you go about it, right? So obviously, you are
exactly.
one of our greatest professionals in the field, and this just goes to show one of our greatest professionals using this with another great professional, and you see the results, and I find that hilarious.
Yeah, this is so much. This is really interesting, and it happens every single time I do like lectures, workshop, and I talk about the MD. And the number one thing is like, oh, I'm not going to use that because I would be so afraid to get caught. And
Yeah,
and I told them, and I said, well, I've never been caught,
me neither.
and no, and I would have told you, and I said, okay, I've been using it since the mid 90s. So it's been 30 years. So 30 years of using it on a daily basis. I don't have shows every day, but I still
Oh yeah, still
practice,
yeah.
work with it, use it every day. And I've done countless shows, hundreds, probably thousands of shows using it. And if I would have gotten caught, yeah, is that the right way to say it
Yeah,
in English? Okay, yeah. If I would have gotten caught uh, 3 times in my life, I would tell you. I would tell you right now. I would say, oh, yeah, I got caught 3 times in 30 years, in
that's
thousands of routines.
right.
Okay,
Think about the
thousands.
percentage of what that would be.
It's
It's minuscule.
nothing.
A
It's
grain of
nothing.
sand at the beach.
Exactly. It's still worth it. It's still worth it. Yeah, the day it happens, you're like, oh
So
crap. Okay, that's
using the same logic is like saying, okay, I don't want to use sleight of hand because I'm afraid of getting caught.
yeah, I'm not going to palm counts because what if someone says
What?
I'm hiding a count in my hand? What, yeah, well, it may happen. Yeah, oh, yeah, I saw you all in your hand when you reach into your pocket. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I'm not going to use palming anymore. No, of course not. You're gonna keep doing palms, of course. It's fine.
Palms
Uh,
are a little scary at first, when you first, but after a while, if you just,
yeah,
I would say practice with a joker or something like that. Do everyday task, and all that'll go away.
yeah.
All
It would
that'll go away
just
in a little bit
exactly. Yeah, you won't even think about it. Yeah, but yeah, and I would tell you, okay, I got caught 3 times. Fine. It's not the end of the world, and it's still worth it because thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times I managed to do magic with cards that was impossible to do if I didn't have it. Or I could have done it, but it would never been as clean, or it saved my life because I was tired, jet lagged, and I thought I did the right thing in my routine and I did not.
Good point.
And there's no backup, and that's what I'm telling now. I said
Good point. Yep.
people say, okay, so you use MD all the time and for all your tricks. I'm like, no, no, I do it. Like I said earlier, I do ambitious card. I do all these things that you guys do and that we all do, but I still have it as a backup, just in case something goes wrong.
Yes.
I don't look like
Perfect example. If
oh,
you were to miss a control, you would know right away.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, control, or you make like a big deal of a out of a revelation, and you turn the card over, and it's not
Yeah.
the right card, and you're like, oh man. Now with this,
Prep.
I when I make a big deal out of the revelation, I don't have even a percent of doubt in my mind. It's 100% sure that
It's a big difference.
I can go all over the place. I can just do something crazy about it because I know for sure the outcome will be okay. And so yeah, and also that's the second thing I always talk when we talk about MDs is it's a great backup. It's like a safety net.
Yeah.
Always, you know, you do
Yep.
trapeze
I
and you have a
agree.
safety net. You don't need a safety net. Like, you know, 99% of the time you would never fall. But if one day something happens, at least you got the safety net. And
Right.
that's gonna save your life. Like literally, if you're a trapeze, for calm magic is a little different. It's not gonna save the trick at least. But also it works the other way around when someone is playing with you. When it doesn't come from you. When it comes from you, okay, it's your fault.
Another good
But
point. Yeah.
at least you can save it. At least you okay, a guy said the card, you look at the card that you're supposed to reveal, your eyes it's not, and then you just do something. You quickly go through your card and you do another technique and you switch or whatever. You do something, and at least
Difficult
it's not as
spectator, or you get a heckler. There's
exactly
so
yeah,
many reasons to
exactly.
go in that direction. Let's put it that
Oh
way.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, whenever you have to fix something because of your mistake, it's not as clean as it could have been, but at least you finish and people still are like, wow, okay, whoa, right. But you know it's not as good, but nobody knows. But when someone hackles, when someone tries to challenges you, or when you reveal their card and they're like, no, that's not my card, and it's their card, you
It
know
doesn't
it.
happen often, but it's
When
good
it
to have.
happens, yeah, or they forget, or they just mess with you, or whatever. Or you do this and oh yeah, it's always the queen of hearts. There's no way you can do that with the three of diamonds. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I cannot do it with the three of diamonds. You're absolute. And you know why? Well, I can tell you. Put the deck on the table, reach into your pocket, get your wallet, and says, because I have a lucky card and I never put in the deck. I forgot to mention there are 51 cards in that deck. And there's one I never put in it. It's in my wallet from the beginning here. Boom, boom, boom. That's the three of diamonds. And that's why I cannot do it with the three of diamonds. Boom. And of course, you know how I did that. You know, and and people are like, oh.
But those
And
it's so funny because mentioning it like that, those types of scenarios feel even more impossible versus doing like a card to wallet or a card to pocket, just off the rip. It's like
yeah,
they're trying to prove something, and then you end up just demolishing everything that they try
yeah,
to
oh
they're
yeah,
trying to heckle you, and you end up with a spectacular effect. I love
oh
that.
yeah. That's the example I give. Sorry, that's the example I give in a lecture. I said um if someone says, "Oh no, it's not my card," and I know it's their card, and I'm not trying to fight with him. I'm not trying to say, "Oh yeah, it's your card. Come on, just stop it. Stop drinking," or you don't say that. So he says, "No, that's not my card," and immediately I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I messed up." And because whenever a card is chosen, I always make sure everyone sees it. Everyone knows that I found the card. And everyone knows that the guy is like a jerk or he's trying to play with me or he's trying to be a little, Mr. Wise Guy. Um, so I have all the crowd with me already. So and the fact that I'm saying, oh, I'm so sorry I messed up, they all like, why is he saying he's wrong when he's not wrong? So I catch them off guard when I say that. And immediately I look at the guy and I'm said, okay, just by curiosity, what was your count? Because obviously I didn't find it. The guy, that was not the it was not the seven of hearts, it was the six of hearts. You were close. He come up with something. He's just trying to be
Nonsense.
funny. And then immediately I take my MD, I do whatever I need to do, and I get into my wallet and I say, okay, I don't think you could have chosen it because there's one card missing from the beginning. I don't like people touching it. It's my lucky cards. My favorite card has been in my wallet the entire time, in my pocket, in my jacket, and that's the six of hearts. And everyone in the crowd goes crazy because they realize, oh my gosh, this guy just said any card, and basically he just reach into his pocket, take his wallet out, open the zipper, take a card out, and it was the card he just named. So this is much stronger than the
Yes.
regular card in the wallet. Card to wallet. The regular card to wallet is great, but this
Yeah.
is so much stronger.
It's
So
almost like a dual reality in a sense too, because the audience is in on it with you, and
yeah,
you know
and the guy is just like, oh, okay.
the guy's like, oh, it's the six or whatever, you know, and that is hilarious. I never really thought about it in that way, but
Oh
now
yeah,
really thinking now I'm like backtracking and thinking about it. That is, oh man,
yeah.
I'm
It is great because I was not before using the MD. I was not comfortable with that situation. Again, it may be a cultural thing. Maybe it happens less in the US or in certain culture, but this
Brandon
thing
said things like that. Yeah,
would just happen in Europe. People would just play with you and mess with you for
it
fun. Okay,
happens.
they're
It
not doing it
happens
in a
here.
mean way, but they're just trying to corner you and say, "Oh, see, I caught you." And so it happens not a lot, but it still happens. So um, so before I used the MD, I didn't like that situation because there's nothing you can do about it. That's your card. No, yeah, that's your card. No, we all know that's your card because you show it to everyone, guys. Yes, and people are like, yeah, 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 or like they're trying to back him up, and they're like,
Right.
oh no,
Trust
he's
me,
right,
you're
and
right.
then you're like, okay, fine, thank you, and you put it and you leave the table, and you're like, it's a bitter, feeling. Um, but now since I use the MD, I'm just hoping it's gonna happen. I mean, I pray that I'm like, I
I
hope
think
there is one guy that's gonna do it because the effect would be so much stronger if he does it.
Joshua Jay said it very well, where he said, you know, it's like, uh, why go to a gunfight with a knife? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you have all the tools that are available to you and use them, utilize them.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, again, if the most important is like in this case would be like the target. The target is I want to perform something that if there was a real magician doing the same magic effect next to me without any tricks, with just his special magic power, people would see me, people would see him, and they would be like, well, that's the same. They both did the exact same thing. So that's my goal. So whatever is required to get to that goal, just use it. If it requires a difficult technique, use it. If it requires to memorize an entire deck, the order of a deck, just do it. But if it requires, a little piece of scotch tape on the card, if it requires, a special card that it's, does the same thing on both sides, what, just use it.
Do what it takes.
Because,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because it's much better to use a little technique to add, whatever you need to add at this moment and perform the best effect rather than just trying the best you can with all the techniques and in the end say, "Oh, okay, I was very proud because I did that with a regular deck and no gimmick cards and this."
I don't
Yeah,
understand those people.
but if I perform it and the people will watch both of us, they would be like, "Oh, that guy is better." I mean, we didn't catch him on anything. That was magic. I mean, he didn't do anything. I did everything, and the magic happens in my hand. Yeah, or why the other guy had to do a little something like this, or do it's why would
It's
you
so
do
much
that?
stronger.
Yeah, exactly, and
Yeah.
that's why also I try to I would say, convince people who don't use MDs to be like, yeah, don't be
I think
afraid, and just realize.
anybody who doesn't, and they end up watching this, I think they're going to be a new convert to the MD.
I don't know. I mean, the other thing, of course, is find the right one. I mean, the one that fits you. I'm not going to, of course, say, oh yeah, buy mine because it's the best in the world, blah blah blah. Um,
Now, yours
I'm
does allow for things that most others don't, and that's one of the things that I love about yours.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the thing. I mean, my when I created mine, that's what I said earlier. I didn't want just to create mine to have my name on it and it's just another one. I wanted to bring an extra value to it, so when you use it, you can do things that you cannot do without with other ones. And still, as of
so
today, it's there's still things that you
I
can do with
have a
mine that
couple.
no other one can do.
I have a couple more burning questions surrounding that. What was the process of working with bicycle, and then what was it, 2007, when things changed?
Oh yeah, that
Because
was fun.
I hear things, but I mean, I like to hear it from you. Like,
Oh
what
yeah.
happened? What's going on?
Well, the interesting
Craziness.
thing with, yeah, when I came over BMD and I started to lecture with it, as you said, I was using the same
Right,
methods, method that Ted Leslie and other people also used it to get your MD, because it was not factory printed. So yeah, you had to make it yourself. There are many ways to do it. My method was not related to, was not directly linked to Ted Leslie's method. So I explained in my lecture that you can use other techniques, but the concept, just the system, the concept itself, was independent from the way to get the MD. But still, in
right.
the end, you had to do it. And of course, people were like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to do it myself. I'm not good at that. It's gonna take time. It doesn't look good. Blah blah blah." So of course, they even if it wasn't really, because you could customize it and you make it yours the way right-handed, left-handed, you an order you want, blah blah blah.
Benefits
Anyway,
to it also. There are benefits to
yeah.
creating your own.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's little tails and things that because you made it
Oh
yourself,
yeah.
obviously.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, yes. But whenever people had to make them themselves, they were like, "Oh my god, I wish it was factory printed." And when it was factory printed, people were like, "Oh yeah, but then in that case, we have to have this order, and we have to." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you cannot have both. I mean, it's one or the other." But anyway, so we tried to have it factory printed because I thought it would be interesting for lots of people also, and for the deck to become more popular if it was factory printed. And bicycle, US playing car was saying, "No, no, 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 we don't do that." Because we don't want that. Because if anybody, because it's again, it's a different
It's
thing than in Europe.
understandable.
Bicycle rider backs are sold in drugstores in the US. They're sold at Walmart. They're sold in CVS. We're everywhere, and that's what it's the cars that people buy to play cards and gamble and everything. And US playing card was like, can you imagine if if the word is out and people know that this deck is now available as an MD? That's not gonna be okay. People would stop using them because they would be afraid that someone is using it against them. Blah blah blah. So we're not going to do that. Okay. Anyway, so we tried a few times and they always said no. And I was disappointed. And at the same time, I understood. I was just like, yeah, no, of course, they're right. I mean, that's the right decision for them, not for me, but for them, I understand that.
Sense,
And there
yeah.
is a new CEO that came in 2005. Yes, I think, or just before 2005. And we were like, okay, well, let's try again. The new CEO, or maybe we can, tell them. I said, hey, why you have
Uh,
all kinds of gimmick cards for magicians and hobbyists for magic. In bicycle cards, you get blank cards, you get this, backs, faces, da, 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 and you have special decks, but you don't have this deck. And he's like, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, there's a gap in our range. We don't have that. said, you know, a good system that we could, you know, use for to print. I'm like, yeah, maybe. Okay.
One comes to
So
mind, right?
yeah, yeah. Spontaneously, there's one that's just like, ah, I like that particular one. So we pitched it, and I think within 48 hours, we got a contract to print the deck, and we got lawyers and everything. So Fun Inc. in Chicago was the one uh, who um, who I worked with at that time, and so yeah, so we got everything set up, and and we were like so nervous because we were there's no way it's gonna get to the end of it. I mean, we're not gonna see the end of it. And so, and then one day we got notification that says, "Hell yeah, okay, well it's printed now. It's in the truck on your way on its way to your warehouse." I'm like, okay, that's not gonna happen. The truck is not gonna leave. Somebody at the last minute will be like, "No, we're making something wrong here. That's a big mistake. Just go back and just burn everything." Oh, yeah. And no, it just happened. They delivered the decks, and and we sold them. I don't know, quickly, pretty quickly. So we had to make a second run, and then we had
Actually,
to make a third run. So I think we did like three run with the rider backs at
I'm gonna
first.
cover some stuff up here, but I actually have one of the originals
There
here.
you go.
See the letter back,
Original one. Nice. Yeah,
and
now
then
they
they
look
make like the new one here in the maiden.
yeah, they rebranded it. So now it's just this one here. Yeah. Anyway,
Okay,
but yeah, and now we got obviously the Phoenix ones. Okay, that's the one
right,
here.
right.
Yeah, but in 2005, yeah, we had to make like three runs of it. And
Oh
and
wow, that's it. 3 runs.
yeah, we got three runs, and then they were like, "Okay, we're okay to we're not doing any more of these because I think, you know, they realized later, too late, that maybe it was not the smartest move from them." But that they said there was a change of policy. They said that we cannot alter the rider back anymore. So it was not about MD or anything. It was just
Design,
any gimmick, any design, anything that changed the design of rider backs. We said no to, and obviously, okay, there
and
was
that
MD.
killed gaff cards too, in a large part, right?
Exactly. So you cannot change the design of the roundabout. You cannot alter it. You cannot change it. You cannot modify it. You cannot do anything to it. So we're like,
Now,
okay, crap.
question:
And then
you were also involved in the Gamblers by Houdini Magic. Is that correct?
so
Now,
yeah,
was this in
exactly.
this period as well?
So the interesting thing is, um, I released the Gambler's Mark deck after the MD. Sorry, I released well, that's the name of the it. It's Gamblers. That's the
Yeah.
way it is. It was sold at Houdini's magic shop in Vegas, so it's public, so I can say it. It's a public thing because it was sold at their shop in casinos. So since I got involved in this, and mine was the very first bicycle rider back
Right.
MD ever printed. The Ultimate MD was released just after it. They released it like, I don't know, one month or two later. Um,
You
but
said the ultimate,
yeah, it's called the Ultimate. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, by
By
Magic
Magic
Dream, which is
Trinket.
also a French. Yeah,
Right.
that's also which is
Yes.
also a French
Okay.
company, which is
That's
well,
another question that I had, but I wasn't sure if you'd be able to answer that.
yeah. So we were working on these two projects at the same time, and nobody knew. I didn't know about them and about their
Um,
project. They didn't know about my project. My project was through, even if I'm French, through funding in the US, so directly with US playing card. They were dealing directly with US playing card from France, and I know Magic Dream, of course. I know them well, and even like working with them right now. Um, so it's like no hard feelings, obviously, but we didn't know at that time, and we I think got lucky. Just we released uh, ours, and that was it. So that was history. And then because I got lots of publicity, of course. It was the first one, and it went so well, and the sales were going so well. I went to Vegas for shows and conventions and stuff, and I met Gino Munari, and Gino Munari was the
Yeah,
owner of the
right,
Houdini's magic shop, and he had this show, magic show, hanky panky at that time, in casino in Vegas, and then he decided to have his all network of shops in casinos, Houdini's magic shop, and he was just selling magic for like beginners, and he was interested to have an MD. So he had one called the Gamblers MD, and it was made on Republic cards, I think. The quality was okay, but it was not like US playing card, obviously. And his goal was just like, I love this deck. It's a very popular item in his stores in Vegas. People love it, but I want to have it in bicycle. So I said, I can help you because it's a totally different bag, the design, everything, and also because it's my deck is for magicians, like professional or semi-professional. This one, the Gamblers, was for lay people. It was just a deck for hobbyists. So it was two different targets, two different audiences, and that's why I agreed to do the Gamblers MD, because um, it was not towards the same people at all. So the Gamblers has never been sold like in Magic Store, for
right.
example, and
So I
and
guess that
my
would
my
explain
my MD was not sold at Houdini's, so it was just two different markets.
that would. So one of the other questions I had is it had additional features, and it had a STK involved and a tape
Mhm.
involved. If you're catching
Okay.
my drift,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
was that specifically chosen? At least the type was that type chosen to be marketed mostly to laymen? Is
Well,
that what you mean, or
the thing is, Gino had as his Gamblers MD before, that came with a booklet with an ideas, and with there's a stack, there's lots of things, and so I didn't start with from the white page. I had to keep all the elements from the old one, and I had to add more things if I wanted. And so it was an interesting game for me, just to take this old version of the Gambler's MD, try to see how I can, uh, I would say, transpose it to the bicycle back design, and also how I can like optimize things, modernize things, add things, etc., etc. So it was just a game with him, like, hey, what if we do this? What if we do that? And it was just fun to do the exact opposite of what I was doing with my own MD, which is try to be as minimal as possible.
right?
Try to be, we don't change anything. I mean, at least the minimum.
Now I
Here it
really
was just like,
actually
put a lot, put as many as you can, because the more you put in this deck, the more people would find uses to it. Like, oh my god, I can know where the aces are. I can know this. I can know that. I can the red and the black for, like, of this world, or any of the routines. Or it was, yeah, and
yeah,
of
that's
course
sort of built in.
the way of the deck. So it was just it was just a different, totally different product, totally different state of mind.
Now
So,
I
but it
thought
was fun.
design wise, in the way they were camouflaged and hidden was quite brilliant, and I really like that design. Like and how it was camouflage. I thought it looks great. Let me just put it that
Thanks.
way.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it was, yeah,
I
it
haven't
was
seen anybody
challenging.
like really match that art style, sort of. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, no,
How you
it's
did it. So I thought that was really cool.
exactly, yeah. That was challenging, because of course the more you put into a deck, the less it becomes this ordinary looking deck that you would expect. So there was a moment he says, okay, I need to stop now because otherwise it's going to be a little too obvious or a little too weird. So that's why I think it was interesting. But I know from that moment they sold a ton of them to lay people. And it was interesting when magicians were visiting Vegas. And of course, we're a magician. You go to Houdini's magic shop when you go to Vegas. Unfortunately, they're not around anymore. But when you were going to Vegas, as a magician, you had to stop at Houdini's magic shop because there were, you know, several casinos. And some magicians told me, says, "Oh my gosh, I saw the gamblers empty and I bought one," because I realized that okay, for lay people, it's a fun tool to do easy, impressive tricks. But as magician, when you know more about techniques and more about things in magic, you can still use it and do some pretty cool stuff that you
I
cannot really do
have
in another
one
one.
right here.
There you go.
That one right here.
That's fun.
Yeah,
Eh,
I'll add
so
like a little the reveal here at the bottom.
yeah, there
Uh,
was a
that
prediction
that's
at the
really good.
bottom, the flap, the bottom, the I mean again, it was just a fun project.
I feel
So
like
we
it was very ahead of its time, and a lot of those little features and stuff like that
yeah,
that you see
it's
other people using nowadays, and in a way, it was ahead of its time. And then there's uh, like okay, so the camouflage, that could hold you back a little bit, if you don't practice with it. But what I love
yeah,
about your original concept, what I love about it is how unique it is and how
yeah,
quickly things can be figured out. Let's put it like
yeah,
that.
exactly, yes. So that's what I was saying. It was just two very different projects, but they were I could do the gamblers because people could see me as somebody who knows about MDs and because of the reputation it got pretty quickly. And so over 10 years, I mean, the rider back was available. Not 10 years, so a little less than 10 years. And there was a time it was out, and they were like, we don't do rider back anymore. Now we can do maiden. I'm like, okay, great. Um, but there was a gap in between where they're like, no, we don't do anymore. And then the maiden back came, and that's what I wanted to tell you. Sorry, I forgot that. But the original Gamblers was on Rider, and then that was the moment when they decided, no, we don't do a Rider back anymore. So they couldn't print my deck, they couldn't print the Gamblers MD anymore. So we had to find a solution. And I was talking to Gino, and very few people know that. So whoever is watching this now, you're gonna get a little, scoop or something. But the maiden back, I worked on the design of the maiden back. Yeah, because Gino was just okay. I got this back where I got the rights, and we could use this back instead of the rider back. It's very similar, but it's still different. So we still need to adjust what's going on this design to make the new gamblers on Maiden. And I still have some files on my computer where I got pre version of the Maiden back. And I do remember there was one where there's this lady in the corner, and she has like a top that is like this covered diagonally, and I'm like, I don't think that's gonna work out really well on American audiences. So in France we're fine, we got topless beaches, we're okay with that, we don't get
Hey,
offended
I like
by
that.
boobs, we're okay with that. But I don't think the US is the same on that particular aspect, so maybe you should cover this. And also there was, I don't remember, the hips were anyway. So I made lots of changes, and also I can tell you that, which is very funny. There were part of the design on the edges that I didn't like, not because I didn't like it, but because it was not very practical to fit my system. So
Ah.
I said, well, I don't really like this part here, the design. Maybe you should change the design to do this and that and that. The reason behind
This is the scoop.
the reason behind that is that it would be so much easier to
Spot things.
use my system
Right.
if the design was changed rather than the original one. So they changed the design because they thought, oh, okay, it doesn't change anything for them. For them, it's the same. And it was minor changes.
Right.
But there were major changes for me in case I thought, hmm, if one day I want to have this particular maiden bag design for my AMD, that's going to be a little better if I do that. So I made all those changes, and the Gambler's Mark deck in maiden bag came out, and I think it's the first one that came out as maiden bag. And it was so similar to the rider bag that most people didn't realize that. They were like, okay, well, fine. And then Maiden was and became the go-to back
Standard.
whenever you needed to have something at the on the back or alter the design, because you couldn't do it with the rider. And so we realized, okay, then we can do my deck also on Maiden, because now this one is okay for bicycle for his playing card, and other people use it too for their own decks. And then we made another run with the maiden. I think we made two runs, I think, with the maiden too. So that's totally probably a total of like five runs until 2019, where Phoenix, and I started to switch to
Right.
Phoenix cards, like for just personal reasons. And Phoenix also really wanted to have, my system on their cards, and we finally had a deal, and I could also do it at that time. Um, and so we did it in 2019. Then we released the Phoenix version, and because it's another design, the back design, and then we managed to make it, I think, even faster um, to use. So
That is
yeah,
something that I noticed. Like between like the rider back, the maiden, and the phoenix, there's like an evolution in quickness and be able to spot things.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. And I think it's between
yeah,
Bicycle and Phoenix. I think we really try. I mean, I didn't want just to um, release my deck with a different back design, and that's it. Because I would be okay. Let's do now Talio, and let's do this, and let's do that, and let's have it available in like 12 different bags. And that's not my goal. If I could have stick to rider bag the entire time, I would have stick to it. We switched to maiden because we had to. We had no choice, and I wanted decks still to be available. And people were asking me, "So we want more of your decks." So yeah, let's do it in maiden. And so when Phoenix, when Card Shark from Christian from Card Shark said we want to have it in Phoenix, I didn't want just to be like, okay, let's put it in Phoenix and that's it. No, I thought about how I can, go one step further, and make it even more convenient, faster, or anything. So I know some people prefer bicycle, some other prefer Phoenix. But I think
right.
Phoenix now is just a little faster. But again, it depends on the use. It doesn't need. Here we're talking about half seconds, so
It's
it's
true.
most people don't need that. Okay, it doesn't change anything for them. But in my case, or for some people, it might be an interesting feature to
I mean,
just do
this would be
things
a
a little
good
faster.
segue to go into the books because there is so many effects that um, require your design, your
Yeah,
method specifically.
exactly.
Um,
Yes. Yeah.
I have a question that's been burning in my head since I bought these two books. All right,
Okay.
so
Oh wow.
yeah,
Good. You have
that's,
it.
that's the books here.
Yeah.
So the question that I'm going to ask you, because it has been driving me crazy since I got these books. I went on like a crusade to get all the books on this particular subject. Um, are these okay? So are these essentially the same book but re-released, or how did this go about?
Yeah.
Because
So
I had
first,
some people tell me like after the fact, um, but I didn't know. I was like, I already got them, so here we go.
yeah. So the Cameron book was the very first that came out. So yeah, at that time it came with a companion video. It was a VHS first. Can you imagine? Then it was a DVD, and I really love the concept. And Guy Camiran from Montreal, great guy. And he was the owner of Cameron Academy of Magic, and he offered me this project. So said, we're gonna do a book where you're gonna explain all the routines, and we're gonna make a video where it's only the demonstration. It's not there's no oh yeah, I love that one. Because it's
That's
changes. Yeah.
so cool.
That's we're gonna talk about this after, but the first one, the Cameron one, yeah. I just love the concept of having a video where it's just a demonstration. So you can watch it like a show. You don't have to do all the full explanation. It's just demonstration. You watch it, you're like, oh, I like this one. Oh, this one not so much. I love this one. And then you go into the book and you learn from the book because I think in the book it's you can explain more things and details and stuff rather than on video, which can be boring. Um, and the book was just sold out after a little bit, and so we got this project to say, okay, we're gonna release the new book. Well, so and then transparency is the newer version of the Cameron book. So we asked Cameron the rights to use the routines from the book, but I didn't want just to re-release the first book. So what I did is I rewrote most of the routines because it's been over oof, 10 years, more than 10 years, I think, 14 years between the two. So those routines evolved over the time, and I came up with new things and new subtleties and new ways to perform. So I decided, okay, we're going to do that. We're going to release the book, but now because the first one is sold out, so it's not like you have the choice between all the other.
Right, right.
So, but yeah, and Cameron was not releasing book anymore. So find a new publisher, got the rights from the first one. Didn't want to use exactly the same, title or anything because it's different. Because we added more routines, so there were more routines, there were more chapters, there was something on improvisation like jazzing, was in the first one. There were extra routines, and the original routines were most of them were rewritten. And so we just decided to come up with this book to release this book
Now,
and
I almost made the same mistake with the Kirk Charles book. And I'm gonna just
oh
say
yeah,
M for life.
and for life, yes. No, it was interesting. They released this one, and and then I think I got in touch with them. Yes, I got in touch with them because I think when you released this book, my deck came out just after. So it was when I say right after, it was just 3 months or something like that. And then I remember I got in touch with them and they were like, "Oh, damn it. I wish I wish I had released it a little later or you released your deck a little earlier, blah blah blah." And that's why oh, there you go. Oh my god, that's great. That's awesome. And
Let's
and
just
that,
cover that
and
up.
so there you go. And
Old
that's why
school, right?
they released yeah. And
That's
that's why
all
they released Hidden in Plain Sight. So
right.
Hidden in Plain Sight was the Marked for Life book with an extra long chapter
Right.
with my deck. It was like the missing chapter because my deck was released right after Mark for Life. And then Hidden Plain Sight was just, okay, the full thing. And he said, would you like to contribute to it? Would you like to give me some routines? And we talk about your deck and everything. I'm like, yeah, sure, of course. Because if you release the deck like this one, and if my system is not there, or if we don't talk about me, I kind of feel bad about it. So I'm like, yeah, and if we do it, let's do it together. I mean, so yeah, of course, you got my permission. Ask anything. Just say, okay, yeah, let's do it. Just because I know it's gonna be good for the reputation of my deck anyway. So more people will know about it through the book. So yeah, so that's basically the story of the books.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
and
is something that's been burning in my head. I've had other people ask me, in our Facebook group, about
mm,
the books, and I think that's uh, either was there or somewhere else. Somebody mentioned that the books were essentially very similar, at least. But I'm
well, you
glad
look at
I'm
the
glad I picked them both up because uh, you know this one I got directly, and then this one was kind of hard to find. I was like I
mm,
said, I was going on an adventure to find all these books, and yeah. Almost
Yeah.
got marked for life, and then somebody was like, "Hold on a second, this one is better. It has extra stuff." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, no, if you look at contents, you will see, of course, some routines are the same, but there is, even if they are the same, sometimes I also added like extra notes or it's been like rewritten and stuff. And also you will see there is way more in transparency, obviously, and with new chapters and stuff. And I
I
also
highly recommend
released
it.
it
I'm
way,
halfway through the
yeah.
other book, so I highly recommend this book for anybody who's looking for this particular subject.
This one is sold out again, unfortunately, so you cannot really
Oh, is
find
it?
it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's been for 2 or 3 years at least now. I mean, since COVID, I think you cannot find. I mean, you can still find maybe one copy, like a used copy on the shelf in a Magic store or online,
eBay
but
maybe.
it's gone. So maybe one day I might re-release it in some way, or my project is probably to have like a box set in the future to available where I because I think all my books now are sold out. So, and my lecture notes, if you didn't get to my lecture, you didn't get the material from the lecture notes. So
Collection of
I
also
think
have
I'm gonna.
variations.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Another
Yes,
good
that's
one.
my yeah.
And you've got some really good stuff in here too.
No
Uh,
MD in that one.
no, but there's some really good stuff in here. There's I'm just gonna put it like there's a really good virtual effect in here that you can
Yes, I
that I
like this one.
really like. I really like that one a lot.
Sub9 is fun. Yeah,
So
Sub9 is so
cool.
much
It
fun.
blows my mind to this day. I'm like, what's going on there? So cool.
But yeah, so maybe in the future I might re-release some of the stuff. Last year for FISM 2025, we released the BWMD anniversary book. So it's my 10 favorite routines with the MD. But it's in fact it's only seven, and the three last ones are unreleased material. So like there are three routines that have not been released. I've never described before, and they are part
Hey,
of that book.
Reed, I gotta say hello to my buddy here, Reed. Gotta have you on again, man. He's a cool guy.
So it was a special project we did. It was just limited edition thing what we did for FISM last year, just to celebrate the 30 years of my deck. Because yeah, it's been officially out in '95, and the 20 years of the factory printed version. So it was just like a double anniversary, I would say, like 30 years of creation, 20 years factory printed.
So, are you
So
thinking you're thinking of doing like you were just saying a box set like all together?
yeah,
What
in
would
the
that
future,
include?
yeah, in the future, I mean, I should have I should have started working on it already, but I got too much projects going on, and I have the new lecture coming up here also at the end of this year called the Mandela Effect. So it's a brand new lecture I'm working on right now. So I'm going to start performing it in France at the end of this year and abroad next year. Nothing really about MD again, but I might still talk about it, or I might just explain. Well, you don't need an MD for that particular routine. However, if you do, there are there are several advantages or several fun stuff that you
Feel
can add.
feel free
Yeah.
to keep us updated in the group because we
Oh
want to
yeah,
stay up in touch with what
I
you're
will.
doing.
I will. So that's my main thing. And then in the future, I hope in a couple of years, this box set where I'm going to put everything I have ever released or published regarding the MD and all my card stuff in
That's
lecture notes, sold out books, and everything MD, of course. Plus, of course, new material like unreleased material altogether. It's gonna be my like legacy books or book sets, I would say.
Hey, I'm gonna be
Uh,
looking out for that. I've followed your work for quite some time now, and I'm gonna be looking out
well,
for
I can see that. Well, thank you so much for having all this like following me over the years, because I've seen here like books and stuff that have been out for like 20 years ish or
that. Hey, they weren't
10 years,
easy to
5 years.
track
So yeah.
down. They weren't easy to track down, but I found them. I was very passionate about getting a nice little collection together on this material. There's not that many books on the subject as you might think there would be.
No,
Good
unfortunately,
for
no.
you.
Sometimes
No,
you got a big book and there's like one routine where they're like, oh yeah, and you need an MD or you need this or you don't have to, but if you have an MD, you can do this and that. I'm like, okay, great, but you really have to look around, and if you want a book where yeah, it's all about it, or it just tells you more about it, and it tells you or try to convince you that this is a tool that needs to be really looked at more in depth. It's this very little thing. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it, because I feel like that every other month I got an email says, "Oh, new MD, new no 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 no." No." I'm like, okay, so for a long time, I remember when I released mine, there was just oh, it was the land at that time. There was this, there
but
was that, that was it, and then there was mine, and then the ultimate, and this, and then since then, I feel like that there was once in a while, and then once a few every year, and then
I don't
like
know
now
what
it's
was it
every
like
other month. There's a new one.
just before COVID. It started like exploding, and there was a deck every month. It seemed
Yeah,
like. Right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And of course I get interested, and I'm like, good. I don't see that as like, oh my god, it's gonna be competition to mine. Blah, blah. No, I'm interested because I'm like, wow, it's good because people were like feeling ashamed or guilty or whatever you call it, using that now feel like they're more ease, more comfortable, and it's something that is more commonly used. And hopefully people realize that yes, the effects you can do with it are truly magical and amazing if you use it the right way, obviously.
Right.
And the more people, the more decks, the more methods, the more I'm like, great, as long as they bring something new. But unfortunately, and I'm sorry to say that, every time I look at new ones, I'm like, what? Yeah, it's a designer project. Okay, it's most people
Yeah,
just said, okay, I'm gonna create a new design, and I'm going to make it in a way so it's not an ND, but it's all about the design. But
it's
we
not
don't care
really.
about
Yeah,
the
it's not
design.
a lot of big innovations and changes to the
Yeah,
method itself, right?
what more can you do with this deck that you could not do with the other one? Nothing. It's just another design. It's just another way to look at things. Okay, but okay, fine. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, I love it. It's nice, but okay, that's the main use is still like I'm gonna put one card on the table and I'm gonna wait 5 seconds so I can use it. And that's not what I want. I want to have 52 cards in my hand, and within 2 or 3 seconds max, I want to be able to
I agree with you because
or
there's
do
so
anything I need to
many
do.
that aren't useful in a spread. Let's put it like that, right? Where I find that
Yeah,
feature extremely important.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes. That was like my main point. Is like we spread cards hundreds, thousands of times at least, or hundreds of times every time we perform. Just to reveal a card, just to have a card selected, just to okay. So it's not a magic move. It's an action. It's just like it's a normal action. And by the way, if someone says, "Oh, give me your deck. I want to show you a trick," I'm like, okay, sure. They will do the same. They will spread the card between their hands, so I can pick one. And they're gonna do their little routine, etc., which is fine. But they're going to do the exact same move as the one I did when I spread cards to have a card selected to reveal whatever sandwich, a triumph, or etc., etc. So yeah. So if you can use this action, this very basic action that for the audience doesn't look like weird or bizarre or anything that is necessary for the trick, but it is necessary for me because I am checking things out. Well, yeah, that's great. And and fast. Again, that's maybe if I could, we could finish on, because I see the time, we can finish on that because I,
Yeah,
but
I am 100% picking up what you're laying
but
down, if
but
you know what I mean.
fast. Yeah, in mind the conclusion, if we talk a lot about the MD, of course, but a good one is a fast one. That's the key. That's the key.
I
Fast.
agree.
It has to be used in a fast way. Okay. The faster you can use it, the less suspicion you will give to the audience, because they will not even have the time to catch whatever you may do with it, because
Right.
it's so fast. And they would not expect you to be able to do anything that fast. So yeah, the more you look at things, the more you spend time doing things like that, the
Red
more you
flag.
give suspicion. Yeah, red flag, obviously red
Like,
flag.
hey, what's going on here?
It's a giveaway, and it's a giveaway, and you should not do that because it's such a beautiful, amazing tool. It's a
Exactly.
waste. It's such a waste to not use it the right way and put red flags all over because you don't use it fast enough. So yeah, that's why, and also that's why the Phoenix version is all about speed. Because I think yes, again, it's little
Milliseconds
like, yeah, it's but
count.
sometimes it's the little details that can make a complete difference.
So, Boris, I want to thank you so much. Like I said, I've been a fan of your work for a very long time,
Thank you so much, Brandon.
and
Yes,
I just
I'm really
really,
touched.
I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sitting down with me and having a conversation, man. Um,
No, that was fun. I mean, it's yeah, I like to do that. I like to share those stories too
I
because
had so
it's
many questions you answered. I would say pretty much. I know I said I do everything like spontaneous, impromptu, but I had
yeah.
some questions brewing up there for sure.
Okay.
Would
Well,
you give us the last word?
um, no.
Message
Well, I mean,
to the audience. Anybody who loves magic, what's your
well,
last word?
no. I mean, it's all I can say is yeah. We talk a lot about card magic, obviously, about one specific thing, which is the MD, obviously, and because I'm known for that. But yeah, card magic is one of the most beautiful things in magic, and sometimes I know people are like, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, cards can be this, cards can be that, and you only do cards, or can you do something else because it's just cards? It's not just cards. It's again, we don't do cards, we do magic. So, and if you think about all those masters of card magic, I don't see them as people doing cards. I see them as people doing magic, beautiful, pure magic or chaotic magic or whatever you think about. If you think of Danny, I saw Danny D'Artis again, is like my brother recently in France. And there's like cards flying all over and everything. And I don't think people at the end they were like, oh yeah, he's a card guy. Or he only does cards, or no, they saw a performer, they saw a magician using cards, as their props to entertain,
An
wow,
entertainer, right?
and exactly, and just fool and just wow people. So it's not about the props. It's about how you use it, just like the MD. It's not about
Right.
just being a card guy. It's about being a magician. And I think that's the best conclusion I can give. So just be a magician, whatever you use, and even with cards, especially with cards, because sometimes it can have like a bad reputation compared to other props in magic, just like DMD in card magic. But no, 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 no. If it's done, if it's used the right way,
It's a
and if you
killer
put your
tool.
heart in it, and if you really use it in a way as a magician would use, then you do magic, and that's our goal. We want to be magicians, or at least pretend to be real magicians.
We're all a little bit of actors, right? In our own way.
Oh yeah. Well, again, we'll finish on that. Robert Houdin, father of modern magic. So you're not, yeah, you're an actor playing the role of a magician.
That's right.
So And it all goes around. We talk about Robert Houdin, we talk about being a magician, we talk about cinema because actors, that's what we are. We are just actors. We just try to convince people that we are this real magician.
Just to give
And
them that slight moment of childhood wonder and astonishment, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they forget. If you can make them forget that you have tricks,
That's
that
it.
you are just a normal guy who worked very hard to master some of the some tricks, etc. But no, you're not that anymore. For just a second, they just see magic. They see a magician.
Forget your problems for just a second and just enjoy it.
Exactly, and that's where all we can do, and that's possible with cards, with MD, with anything, because it's just more state of mind. Just be a magician.
Thank you, Boris.
My pleasure, Brandon.
Hopefully, maybe we can do this again in the future sometime.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, my friend. You have a great day.
Yeah, you
Keep in
too.
touch.
Thank you. Yeah, we will.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.